I thought I just might mention a little about protein supplementation for a fall calving herd, because here we are in late August, early September is just about a week away. And forage quality, especially on tallgrass prairie or native rangeland, is declining rapidly this time of year, especially with the really hot weather we've had here recently. The actual native grass forage species, the big blue stem, switchgrass, Indian grass species, are going to be, the leaf material is going to be down around in that 6% crude protein range. Well, a cow that's lactating has a protein requirement in her diet of around 11%, 10 to 11%, depending on how much milk she gives. And it goes up pretty dramatically, essentially the day she calves. Consequently, we can have a pretty substantial negative gap in protein supply there. And what that does is sort of exacerbates a potential body weight loss on that female from the time she calves until the time we start the breeding season, probably sometime in November. If a cow is grazing native rangeland, about 6% protein this time of year, she needs, her requirement is about 3.3 pounds of protein a day, given average milk production potential, 3.3 pounds. But if she's grazing native rangeland, she might only be getting, at 6% protein and around 30 pounds of forage intake, she might only be getting about 1.8 pounds. And so that leaves a gap of around 1.5 pounds a day of crude protein. If the cow has 1.5 pounds a day protein deficiency, it's going to take 7.5 pounds of 20% cubes to fill just the protein gap. So, that's going to be an expensive proposition. Certainly would supply a lot of energy, maybe to help those young females gain weight. But if you're feeding a 38% product, it would take about 4 pounds of that product to fill that 1.5 pounds of protein supply. So there's a lot of moving targets when it comes to making efficient supplementation decisions this time of year. There's cases where the cattle won't need any supplement because of forage quality. There's cases where they might need a considerable amount. And so adjusting the calving season, adjusting the forage type the animals are grazing at the time, and certainly adjusting the supplementation program to match the animal's requirement is a really important strategy. One method I ought to mention that's very helpful is to keep an eye on the cattle's fecal patties. If they're starting to stack up, that's a good indication perhaps that protein supply is deficient. Just to wrap up, supplementing a fall calving herd this time of year, number one, I'd say don't wait and start the program too late, after the cattle have already lost a significant amount of weight and condition. Get started early this time of year. Depending on the forage species you're grazing, there may be a significant protein gap. And if you just fill that protein gap here early in the year when you have abundant forage, it can be high in digestibility once you fill that protein gap.